In April 2025, India dispatched the second batch of BrahMos supersonic missiles to the Philippines, marking a milestone in India's global defense exports. This followed a $375 million deal signed in 2022. But the real test of the missile was during Operation Sindoor. The BrahMos supersonic cruise missile not only reportedly helped India target several strategic locations deep inside Pakistan, but they also showcased how indigenous Indian weapons can deliver a powerful and effective response. For the uninitiated, BrahMos is a universal long-range supersonic cruise missile system that can be launched from land, sea and air. It has been jointly developed by DRDO, Indian government and NPOM Russia. BrahMos is an amalgamation of the names of the Brahmaputra and the Moskva rivers. At present, India has three variants of the missile: the air-launched version, the land-based version and the submarine-based version. India holds a 50.5% share and Russia the other 49.5% share in the joint venture. The BrahMos missile manufacturing unit in Lucknow was inaugurated in 2021 with the target to produce 80 to 100 missiles annually. Since then, the suppliers to this missile program have been on investor radar. But there were always apprehensions of whether the indigenous defense equipment would serve well in times of crisis. Understandably so. Consider this. In the late 2000s, India had secured export orders of Dhruv helicopters to Ecuador. This was seen as a key milestone for India's indigenous defense production. India's Dhruv was positioned as a low-cost alternative to the Western utility helicopters. Hindustan Aeronautics had sold 7 Dhruv choppers to Ecuador after tough competition from global peers Elbit, Eurocopter and Kazan. The export deal was supposed to position India firmly on the map of global defense exporters. However, the excitement was short-lived. 4 of the 7 Dhruv advanced light helicopters bought from HAL crashed in separate incidents. Eventually, Ecuador grounded the remaining ones. In fact, it went ahead and unilaterally ended the contract with India in 2015. Since then, India had been on the back foot on defense exports. But something changed in the last decade. First, China rapidly expanded its defense and military capabilities, so much so that it made most of the smaller Southeast Asian countries like Philippines and Vietnam very vulnerable. This forced them to reach out to like-minded countries like India to strengthen their defense capabilities. The need for self-reliance in the defense sector gave fresh impetus to India's Ministry of Defense indigenization lists. Fast forward to Jan 14, 2022. Delfin Lorenza, Secretary of National Defense of the Philippines, confirmed the acquisition of 3 batteries of BrahMos missile system to be operated by the Philippine Marine Coastal Defense Regiment. Countries like Vietnam, Indonesia and Thailand are on the buyer's list in procuring the BrahMos missile system. HAL, being one of the key suppliers to BrahMos Aerospace, is being dubbed as the BrahMos stock. The company has 20 production and overall divisions and 9 R&D centers across India. HAL inaugurated a new design and test facility at Aero Engine Research and Development Center in Bangalore in December 2023 to accelerate R&D of aero engines. It typically spends 7 to 8% of its total revenue on R&D. Cost optimization is a key focus area for the management of HAL. It is targeting 2 core areas: capacity and capability building. HAL's order book stood at 1.8 trillion rupees in financial year 2024-2025 and the order pipeline for the next 2 years is of another trillion. What investors do not realize is that HAL's prospects go beyond BrahMos missile system. HAL is one of the most formidable producers of aircrafts and helicopters in India. Its current capacity is 24 per annum. HAL has 2 production lines in Bangalore and Nasik. The capacity is likely to grow to 30 in the next 2 to 3 years. Further, HAL has helicopter manufacturing capacity at Tumkuru facility in Karnataka. It has ambitious plans to produce over 1,000 helicopters in the 3 to 15 ton range over the next 20 years. Further, HAL is making steady progress in developing the Combat Air Teaming System Warrior, a plan where manned and unmanned aircraft work together as a team during missions. This is a smart drone built to fly along with fighter jets that have pilots. The CATS Warrior was displayed as a full-size model at the Aero India 2025 show. Yet another supplier of the various communication and electronic intelligence systems to BrahMos is Data Patterns. Data Patterns is into automatic test equipment, avionics products and fiber optics. Apart from supplying for the Tejas light combat aircraft, light utility helicopter and BrahMos missiles, it actively collaborates with major defense PSUs like HAL and Bharat Electronics, as well as key government agencies such as the DRDO and ISRO. The company operates in the build to specs business, where the level of specification becomes the entry point to fulfill contractual obligations. While the competition is limited, attending to the needs of the customers is a tough business. Data Patterns examines customer requirements and proposes architecture which meet the goals of functionality, environment and target price. The company provides build-to-print contracts for manufacturing products exactly as per customer requirement or customer drawings. Data Patterns also has capability to build to specifications in the space electronics equipment for satellite, ground station and testing. ISRO has been a key enabler for domestic space ecosystem by procurement of satellite and launch vehicle systems and components through Tier 1 and Tier 2 suppliers. At present, defense electronics make up only 25 to 30% of the cost of the platforms used by Indian Armed Forces. This is expected to increase in future. Also, at present, over 60% of the electronic components used are supplied by foreign OEMs. Thus, Data Patterns too has prospects well beyond the missile system. The most lucrative potential is in defense exports. India has offered exports of wide range of items from ammunition, arms, subsystem and components to 100 countries in FY25. India's defense exports should rise at much higher pace over the next decade, as production is now well integrated with latest technology. The Defence Ministry has set a target for 2029 to double defence exports to 500 billion rupees from 236 billion rupees in financial year 2024-2025. So do not speculate on near-term prospects of stocks that are supplying to the most popular defence systems like BrahMos. Rather, consider their moat from a long-term perspective as indigenous defence ecosystem gets on a solid footing. Hope you like this video. Thanks for watching.